Chad, every snapshot I see of a celebration is the Trump dance. It's all the rage.
It really is.
Saw it again yesterday, this time with the U.S. men's national team for soccer, and Christian Pulisic scoring, and bring on the Trump celebration.
Here it comes. Oh, there it is.
The dance is on.
That's one of the better versions of it that I've seen because he really got the hips involved. He engaged the lower body as you would expect a soccer star to do. Engage the lower body. That's what he did with the dance. So I really like that. He didn't use his hands either. True to soccer form, where you're not allowed to use the hands. He kind of pterodactyl armed the thing, and I like the little shimmy that he gave, and his hips were moving the whole time. It was really impressive.
I mean, for everyone who was denouncing any sports figure that would dare say that they have conservative values, right? They were totally written off, not covered, ignored. Now, even if there's no reason to presume which way someone voted, but you could tell that it's swept the country throughout the sports world, and the media outlets that were trying not to cover it have no ability to censor this from the live broadcast, right?
No.
I mean, it's you got
none at all. By the way, 4 minutes ago, this just came down from OutKick. The NFL has, I guess, reached back to OutKick and others through a spokesperson, and they have confirmed they have no issues with any player doing the Donald Trump dance. The quote from Chief Spokesperson Brian McCarthy is, "There's no issue with celebratory dances such as what took place Sunday or the previous week with the 49ers on November 10th.
Yeah.
No issues.
I don't know how they could have that issue.
Good.
Because it's within the rules.
Yeah.
It's not taunting. Well, it's taunting. It's taunting. Like Hub Arkish is being taunted there, right?
Yeah.
But that's about it.
That's the only one getting taunted.
Yeah. Maybe Mita Kimes or someone being taunted by that.
They feel it's like a personal affront.
They would feel. They would take it as a taunt.
Their lofty moral
No, this is just fun. We said yesterday, this is just fun.
It's fun, and I also think, it probably is sort of not in Nick Bosa's case, it's a very loud endorsement of what he's about and who he voted for. But I think with everyone else, Christian Pulisic as well, it's more of a sort of a passive wink and a nod that, I'm a Trump guy.
Well, I think it's more of a trend.
I kind of take it as that way, too. Not everyone across the board that's joining in and all that, they think it's funny. But I think that it's them saying it's okay. And I believe a lot of people woke up on Wednesday morning after the election. And we hear so much from a lot of people, typically that are very liberal, that talk about seeing and feeling heard or seen. I feel seen for the first time. I feel heard. I think a lot of people in sports woke up that Wednesday morning and they felt seen and heard by the way America voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And I think when that happened, the top kind of popped off and they said, it's okay. It's all right. I can do the Trump dance. I can say some things if I want to. And I'm not going to be crucified over it by the public because there's a hell of a lot of Americans who agree with me.
Yeah. But I would say I'm not presuming that any one of the, an entire offense that joins a celebration in the end zone is all on board. I think it's more of like a social media trend.
Yeah.
That's now like anytime you see a score, an interception, a sack. Now, from Bosa's standpoint, absolutely. But, again, I think it's more fun and lighthearted than it is, take this or that, or here's a taunt your way.
Right.
Or,
I think it's fun and lighthearted.
Follow me or death.
I think it's fun and lighthearted. I don't think LeBron James or Steph Curry or Steve Kerr is going to be doing it anytime soon.
No. But,
So my point is, I think people, it's not necessarily all diehard Republicans that are doing the dance during football games, but I think most everybody who's doing it's probably okay. They're either indifferent with the election or they're okay with Donald Trump.
Or they're like us, where it's just like, no harm, no foul. Do whatever you want.
It's fun.
Have fun with it.
It's totally fun.
No need to edit it out, and there's no need that the NFL would have an issue with this.
And the reaction has been so different than it would have been 8 years ago, 4 years ago from most in mainstream media. And I think that's refreshing because I do think that with the results of that election, there's just a lot more people that are saying it's fine, right? Like you can endorse whoever you want. And you're not going to get criticism, and it's fine.
The other part of it, though, conservatives weren't on TikTok.
No.
4 years ago. China's going to steal your information. if you're on there.
Isn't that still a thing?
No.
Or have they changed their stance
China's
on that?
already got our information.
Yeah. They know who we are.
I mean, yeah. And
They got my blood type.
the social media aspect of it was not being, addressed to the level it is now. With the memes and the videos. And again, there's a younger audience that's picked. This is what you get in return.
Mm-hmm.
The younger demographic has fed into this. And Trump created it. He's the craze. But again, it's also a guy who leans into sports. Sports is back, which is another great thing. Post game, Christian Pulisic had this to say about the Trump dance celebration after scoring against Jamaica. I saw everyone doing it yesterday in the NFL. I saw John Jones do it, and we were just having a bit of fun. I thought it was a pretty fun dance. Obviously, that's the Trump dance, but it was just a dance that everyone was doing. He's the one who created it and thought it was funny, and I thought it was funny. It's not a political dance. It was just for fun. I saw a bunch of people do it and thought it was funny, so I enjoyed it. That's great. Thank God for that.
Yeah. And I would also add, that's a great response by him, and that's fine. And I hope not many people are criticizing them.
No.
I'm sure some are.
I hope not.
And I'm sure that some U.S. soccer fans are. I would also just say, what's wrong with just, in a joking way, even supporting and celebrating the President of the United States of America? This isn't a controversial stance by me. It's a fun dance, and it's funny watching old Donald Trump do that dance. So we find it hilarious on TikTok or wherever, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's also okay.
Yeah.
All of it's okay.
And there's really no pushback other than the editing of it. But it's not like a total edit job either. It's like the social media post by CBS or the NBC edit of the Bosa MAGA hat on one platform but not the other. It's all, and then putting it back on. It's all very confusing to a point where it's just like, what are you guys doing?
Just show it.
Lead into it. Have fun with it.
Just show it. I really think that we're seeing the tide turn with a lot of this stuff where people have to be afraid to tell others, who they voted for, if they're conservative or whatever. It's been long accepted to vote Democrat or be liberal or whatever it may be in entertainment and sports and in all forms of media. It's been okay, and that's good. I want that to be okay. I'm not saying that anybody that voted for Biden or Kamala Harris or anyone else should just be criticized at all turns because they did that. No, all of it should be okay. All of it can be acceptable. And I do think we've seen with this election and the response from the sports world especially that it is acceptable now because the response hasn't been the same as it would have been 8 years ago or 4 years ago. And I think that's a massive positive for our country.
Yeah.
It's a huge positive.
Clay was asking on social if it's all positive and acceptable within ESPN headquarters. Of course, they're staying silent on it because they're told to on anything political angle of it. Here's Clay tweeting this out to Antonio Brown's response. ESPN is legit going to have to schedule mental health counseling at corporate headquarters because of all the athletes celebrating big plays and big wins with the dance on their network. Antonio Brown sends out CTESPN greater than ESPN.
I love that Antonio Brown and Clay are lockstep here. That's just so funny to me. That Clay Travis, the leader of OutKick, but our buddy also, is just like Twitter pals with
pals
with AB with Antonio Brown.
They're on the same wavelength on CT
I mean,
ESPN.
Clay's probably, he's got his mind cooking right now about how he can acquire CT ESPN because that'd be a hell of a brand for Clay Travis to run with
live.
Antonio Brown.
Hey, streaming live. They had more.
I think it would be a huge moneymaker.
As Jake Paul pointed out, more people illegally streamed the live feed from Antonio Brown than watched the NBA playoffs or something.
I'm all for marrying these two brands in some way. OutKick, that's a decision way above my pay grade that I'll never make. But if there's a way to marry CT ESPN with OutKick and get Antonio Brown in the mix, I think it's a no-brainer.
He could come on the show, but we wouldn't be able to ask him about the cracker of the day.
For everyone. Right, yeah. Then we'd be told not to ask that. But we couldn't ask about the other one either.
We would ask him anything.
Yeah.
But he would say anything.
There's also some Asian references also that we probably wouldn't be able to ask about.
There's a lot of references.
A lot of references we wouldn't ask about. But it would be an amazing brand partnership, I think, with both. I'll also say this,
totally
all right,
agree
and I
with
don't
you.
want to take this too serious in a turn or anything because we are having a lot of fun to open the show. let's not get too loose with mental health here, because I do believe there are a lot of people that on social media are exposing some mental health issues with how they respond to something like election results. Mm-hmm. And that's not specifically left-leaning. That's right-leaning too. I saw it in 2020. And I saw a lot of my friends that were having some mental health issues that were later discovered that I probably could have told you were manifesting itself based on the results of the 2020 election. And we're seeing a lot of that in 2024. So let's cool it a little bit on the doing victory laps over people having to get mental health counseling, right? I don't want to be too cavalier with that. And I'm someone who likes to have fun and joke about everything. This does not offend me at all.
Same.
But I think everybody's got someone in their family or someone close to them that's affected by that type of stuff. So I also don't want to turn it into, ha, 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 you're mentally ill. Oh, my gosh, you're mentally sick. Like that, there is a line there at some point.
Well,
but all in the interest of fun. We're having fun here.
Yeah.
But let's cool it a little bit on the victory laps around mental health.
Yes, no doubt, and well said.
Because I legitimately believe some people are showing signs of it when they're saying things like, "I'm going to leave the country because this happened."
Yeah, or do something crazy.
Exactly.
And we've seen a reference to that recently, just with the local community. So just choosing not to be here anymore.
And we saw, again, I'm playing it down the middle here. We saw it in 2020.
Of course we did.
We saw a lot of it. It's been talked about ad nauseum since then, and a lot of people want to completely deny it and not identify exactly what's going on here. That's mental health too.
But I think
so this is not a partisan issue. It's on both sides of the aisle. There's mental health problems in our country, and things like this shine a light on it. I think we're all seeing that.
The reaction has been more about, again, I'm looking at it from the sports angle. We're focusing on the Trump dance and the craze and the viral aspect of it, right? What's trending. It's all in fun. In the past, the reaction has been, see, we told you, keep your mouth shut. You're going to be canceled. We're controlling the narrative. And it came from the four-letter network, from the sports perspective. And with Clay's post, we know it doesn't. You don't have to really dig that deep to find out who would be distraught over this after 4 years earlier dancing on the election results and saying, we're winning, you're canceled.
Well, here's what's going to happen now.
That's just not the case anymore.
Yeah, you're spot on, Hutton. And here's what's going to happen now at ESPN, okay? Because OutKick has hired people that worked at ESPN that would have these claims. That left because of forced to take one side or the other or say one thing or another. And that was always the line about ESPN, right? Yep. No one is platform and bitching about Kamala Harris losing. They're not criticizing Donald Trump. They're not doing any of it. The mandate now is stick to sports at ESPN. Do what we pay you to do. So when Clay tweets something like that, Mina Kimes is probably quietly seething right now about all of this with Donald Trump and dances and everything else. There's no doubt about it. And there are a lot of others that are on air at ESPN that are quietly pissed off. The operative word here is quietly. They're not bringing it to social media. They're definitely not bringing it on camera or on microphone because their bosses have told them to cut it out.
And quietly
because
celebrating.
That's not what that's not what their audience wants. Everybody's audience is different. Everybody's audience wants something different from wherever they go for content. The ESPN audience has spoken loudly. Most of them don't want it. They want the sports. So Mina Kimes isn't saying anything. All these other talents at ESPN, they're not saying a word. Let me tell you the future of what's to come. If sometime down the road, a Mina Kimes or a Ryan Clark or someone who is very outwardly left is not renewed in their contract, get ready for the interviews and the claims that they got out because they're two left and that ESPN went right. It's this constant tennis match, pickleball, whatever your favorite sport is, ping pong, back and forth, back and forth. There's a lot of people on the right that say, oh, ESPN mistreated me because I'm on the right and I had these views and it wasn't a good place for me to be. Get ready. 3 to 5 years. In the next Trump presidency, there's going to be people leaving ESPN or they're not going to have their contract renewed. And the claim will be, oh, I was too political. I was too loud about my views on politics or Donald Trump. So me, the victim, I'm out for that reason. Get ready for it. It's going to happen. Play this back in 2 to 4 years, I'll say, when people aren't renewed in their contract and they're going to claim that's the reason. Because I was silenced. Because I couldn't speak. They knew my politics and they didn't want me around anymore talking to people at the water cooler about it. You're going to get all sorts of bullshit like that. Get ready.
Yep.
You heard it here first.
We can point back to
CTESPN. That's where you heard it first.
We can point back to the fact that Jalen Rose and Michelle Beadle were also laid off during the previous administration.
Absolutely.